Tony Potts, Coosa Valley News, with the SPLOST coming up in the election on Tuesday, March the 6th. A lot of folks around the area are wondering for it, against it. The SPLOST tax package has done a lot of good things in our community. However, this one has been really debated on if it's good or bad for the taxpayers of our community. We have invited folks pro and against the SPLOST package. We put a call in to Mike Morton with the Rome Tea Party, who is against this SPLOST, and we've also put a call in to the Greater Rome Chamber of Commerce, local and officials, county and city governments. Reluctantly, I'm here to inform that the Greater Rome Chamber of Commerce, county and city officials have elected not to show up to discuss this SPLOST tax on film. For whatever reason, I'm not exactly to say, but we do have Mike Morton with the Rome Tea Party that is here to discuss his opinions and points of view for the SPLOST. Mike, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here with you, Tony, and you know, this is a good chance for the citizens to hear the various points of view about it. I'm disappointed that the other folks did not join us, but I think that we hear and see a lot of information coming out of them through the other news media and print media, for example, that advocate for the SPLOST. So I'm here to share with the citizens some opposing ideas to it, and I think, you know, to kind of start it off, this SPLOST is for $32.4 million.
And you were on the SPLOST committee, correct?
Thank you. I was, and in the interest of full disclosure, I was on the SPLOST committee. I was on the previous SPLOST committee. Our task, delivered to us in October, to have completed by the end of November, was to vet this SPLOST program and to make a recommendation on it. Well, I'll tell you that we were able to have 2 meetings. That was too quick. There was a rush to judgment on this thing, and now, after the rush to judgment, and after it's been promoted and submitted to the Department of Justice and those kind of things, then we're able to step back and look at this. And as I've done that, then I have come to the conclusion that the citizens should vote no on SPLOST on next Tuesday, March the 6th. They should oppose it, basically with the idea of, folks, we have a lot of time. We have, according to the various governments, until July of 2013. We have over a year and a half in which we can reconsider what we're doing. We can look at other options, bold solutions to this, and we can put that SPLOST on the ballot in, say, for example, on November 6th of this year. If it takes a SPLOST, a modified SPLOST, or if there are other solutions that are brought forward. So, yeah, I was on the SPLOST. This is a $32.4 million collection from the taxpayers of Rome and Floyd County over a 27-month period of time. Regardless of what they say, this is not an extension. You know, extension, the word extension makes it more palatable. The fact is, this is a new tax. The fact is, our current SPLOST tax had a finite definition, a finite end. It's ending in July of 2013. The new SPLOST starts immediately thereafter with a new definition, a new plan, and different new revenues. So this is new to us. You know, when we first started SPLOST back in the 90s, we were told, well, we're looking at this one thing. We'll just do it this one time. We've had SPLOST ever since then, I think, with one small lapse of maybe a couple of years. As one of our commissioners said, he's concerned about this SPLOST because it seems to be a bridge to a longer-term financing plan through the taxpayer. So let me just share with you a couple of points about. First of all, there are people who say, well, this is not about the merits of SPLOST. Well, it is about the merits of SPLOST. This $32 million represents what they, the government, say is paying for expenditures, operating expenditures, maintenance expenditures that they have set aside, put aside, postponed over the last 4 years. $32 million they're asking so that they can do those things, those operating things and those maintenance things, so that they can do them as they've set them aside. Well, I need an answer to that. $32 million set aside, $8 million set aside in a government budget that is paltry in many respects. I question that. I think that what we see here is not only paying for some things that have been set aside, but we're also paying for new things, new items, new projects. And we're doing this when probably we could do with a lot less. So on its merits, this SPLOST should be voted against. This is another point. This is, as I've alluded to, precedent setting for Rome and Floyd County. This is using for the first time taxpayer funds, SPLOST taxpayer funds, to pay for the operating budget instead of those special purposes which SPLOST was intended for. Building a new baseball park, building a bridge, building a town green, those special purpose things. Well, now all of a sudden we're moving into using this for operating costs, operating budget expenditures. That's not the intent of SPLOST, and that's not what SPLOST should be, in my judgment, used for. It is legal. It is legal to use the funds this way. They're right when they say this. It is correct that a lot of municipalities throughout the state use SPLOST for operating budget kind of expenditures. But I think it's a dangerous precedent to say, let's do another way of taxation other than property tax to pay for the operations of government. This is balancing that operating budget on the backs of the taxpayer. And my goodness, are these taxpayers ever taxed enough already, as we would say in the Tea Party? Rome and Floyd County has a hefty tax burden, and you know what? With this SPLOST, we're heading for a 9%, we're possibly looking at a 9% sales tax rate a year from now. For example, this SPLOST, it will, if approved and put into effect in July of 2013, will take that sales tax rate back to 7%. Then, this summer, in July, we will vote on another SPLOST, a T-SPLOST, a transportation SPLOST, which is certainly being promoted, and there's a lot of folks that are supportive of it. Good chance that it would pass. That takes it to 8%. Now we find that the legislature is evaluating adding another 1% to the state sales tax. And yeah, that might offset some income tax kind of things and so forth, but nevertheless, it's an additional sales tax. That's 9%. My goodness, holy Toledo, as we might sometimes say. A question that I would have, and that as a member of SPLOST I was curious about and inquisitive about, is what options were considered for this. And I will tell you, there were very few options of any consequence considered to SPLOST as a way to fund these projects. by the way, the projects, when they started off, the original recommendation was for $9 million, turned into pretty quick $32 million. You know, I kind of look at it perhaps a little cynically as, well, it's not the recommender's money, it's the taxpayer's money. So I'll spend, you know, what I feel like I want to. It's not my money. That may be harsh, but nevertheless, you can get cynical.
Perception.
Look, we need to go back to the drawing board to consider some bold solutions, some options to this. And we can do that by voting against this SPLOST, and we've still got, as I said, you know, a year and a half to put another SPLOST or another solution into place. We've got a candidate running, a presidential candidate, that talks about bold solutions. And there's merit to that. We are in crisis. The government financing, the financial state of Rome and Floyd County is in or near crisis. To solve that crisis, we need to consider some bold solutions. We need to go back to the drawing board on spending and make substantial spending cuts, and we can do that by looking at various programs that are not the role of government and cut those programs. What we've been doing, and we've had budget cuts, you know, praise the Lord for the commissioners and so forth in making budget cuts, but it's almost like we're rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. We're playing around the margins. We've got to take bold solutions, bold cuts, and then I have to bring up this evil, evil word as an option. A word that frightens an awful lot of people who are entrenched in power, by the way. And that word is consolidation. Why in the world would we not, can we not consider with enthusiasm consolidation? Why do we want to accept 3 law enforcement departments in this county? Is there opportunity to combine or consolidate those? Why do we want to consider 2 school systems? Why do we want to consider 3 governmental administrative operations? And on and on and on. America economically is in crisis, and you know, more and more municipalities are looking at consolidation as a solution to the financial crisis that they face. Dalton, Whitfield, for example. And as a matter of fact, when Duval County and Jacksonville consolidated, one of the points that was made by one of the eloquent speakers is consolidation will only be considered and implemented when there is crisis. And I suggest that we're there. Consolidation needs to be looked at. In the report in 2004 of the Consolidation Study Committee, it was said that, the report said that there would be $1 million in savings per year as a result of the SPLOST consolidations. This was not considered. A lot of I consider political reasons that it wasn't considered. But you know, $1 million here and $1 million there, as Everett Dirksen said, before long you got a lot of money. And I suggest that that consolidation is an option and an alternative. Privatization opportunities still exist. And in fact, the private sector can do it cheaper than the public sector can do it. So we've got to find options. We've got time, and we've got time to consider this and reconsider bold solutions by planning to implement whatever the solutions that we come up with by July of 2013. So I'm just suggesting, asking the folks, the viewers, to really consider voting no to this SPLOST. There is no downside to voting no on this SPLOST. There is always the time and the opportunity to go further, to reconsider it, and to bring something back to the voters.
You know, I'm going to ask you, playing devil's advocate, so to say.
Sure.
If you vote yes, a lot of the yes folks are saying you're going to raise property taxes if this don't happen. Can you respond to that?
Well, my basic response is you're giving, that's a heck of a threat that you're making. You know what? I have been in event sessions and so forth where government officials have been asked the question, what do we do if this SPLOST is unpassed? And the answer has been consistent. We'll find a way. We'll find a way. And in the follow-up question, are you going to find a way through higher taxes? And the answer has been, that's not palatable in this county to raise property taxes. So, you know, let's look at these other solutions. Let's get bold. Let's go. Let's think outside the box. Commissioner Gary Fricks is talking a lot about thinking outside the box now, and he's got some great ideas, and as do many others. And so, taxation, property tax or whatever, should be the last resort, the very last resort. An expanded government should be the first resort to finance, you know, your operations with.
Finally, again, just playing devil's advocate. If you vote yes for this SPLOST, is there any good that could come out of that, in your opinion?
Well, look, I do think that there are some areas that where we need paving. I will say this, a friend of mine says, you know what, my car needs new shocks, and I guess what I'm going to have to do, if we can defeat this SPLOST, is drive around the potholes, you know, and I'm willing to do that. Sure, we need some paving. Sure, there are some police cars that need to be purchased. I will ask you this, does a police car need to be a bright and shiny new, you know, 2013 model? You know, you're going to finance that with that bright and shiny new penny that you're taking from me. I think that penny is more valuable than a bright and shiny new police car. They're all over the internet are government kinds of vehicles, used vehicles available for sale. You know, just saying. So
pros and cons, you think it's con 90% to 10%? What would you say?
Well, no, I would go. Listen, I will go further than that. I would say it's 100% that we should not, that we should oppose this. That's 100%. There is no redeeming value of the SPLOST that would give support to taxing the citizens once again. There is a great deal of value to stepping back, reconsidering, looking at options, and you do that by first of all turning this SPLOST down.
All right, well, Mike, I appreciate your time joining us today. Don't forget, make sure you check out your news, sports, weather, and political information on CoosaValleyNews.com.